Yes, the terminology is the very most important actually. So in the terminology, we have to use that um, different type of terminology you have to using in this field, ETL testing field. Commonly, repeatedly, you have to using the three type of terminology you have to using in this ETL field. The first one is that table. The first one is that table is the first terminology, and repeatedly, commonly, you have to using this terminology. So the table in table, actually in this table in the sense what it can be having that table, the collection of rows and columns. Yes or no? Whenever you calling the table in the sense the collection of a rows and columns. And second one is that fields.
Sir, voice, please loud. Voice,
Okay. Yes, okay, okay. It is okay. Now it is okay.
yes, sir.
Okay, right. Um, Here you have to using some terminologies, some terminologies. This terminology, this terminologies, actually, some of the terminology is there. First one is the table, and second one is the fields. And repeatedly and commonly you have to using in this work a table in the sense the collection of your rows and columns, and fields also is there. What you call that fields in the sense, how can you thinking about that when I calling that
Columns.
fields? Yes, exactly, columns. And third one, schema. And commonly here you have to using that schema. Schema is the meaning of schema is the collection of entities. Entities. In yesterday we already discussed that what is the entities? Entities in the sense
Table, table का sir.
exactly, exactly, tables are the entities, and and the
Yes, sir.
relationship. So one table to and another table, what type of relationship it can be having with the using of keys or with the using of entities. So what is the relation it can be maintained from those are tables. So database in the sense the collection of your tables, the collection of your tables, the table in the sense a collection of your rows and columns. So each and every table, it can be having that fields in the sense columns. So
Columns.
whenever you're thinking uh, the table, so definitely you have to imagine the each and every table, it can be contains a rows and columns, and fields also it can be having, and each and every table in between some relation it can be having. So that's the imagination inside of you. Then you have to calculate and validate and each and everything, and source from the source place to and target place. Clear? In those of terminology, you should be remember that one. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, and why? Because I am saying these terminologies I think commonly and repeatedly you have to using this each and every time you have to pronounce that table and field and schema. So definitely before the validation, you should be know that schema. schema in the sense one table to and another table relationship is the very most important. Why? Because base table from the base table you have to create it and multiple tables from the requirement of business intelligence, from the requirement of users. You have to follow the schema, and commonly you have to using the terminology schema, schema word. So that is the most important actually when they are in interview. So actually some persons, interview persons, they are asking that the schema, what is the schema, what type of schema you want to use in your project. So those are all questions that definitely they have to be asking to you. So on the time schema, what is that schema, and don't confuse in that time actually. So when they are asking that schema, you definitely you have to imagine in your mind entities and schema. Each and every schema is a collection of entities in the sense tables, and those are all tables. What type of relations it can be contained. So you should be learn in that way actually. So schema is the very most important today on the on topic actually. Schema, two type of schemas is available from our testing side. So what type of schemas is available here? Just you have to discuss about that schemas, type of schema, type of schema. So how many types it can be available? First one is the star schema. Star schema. And second one, snowflake schema. Snowflake schema. So first one you have to discuss about that star schema. So in the schema, actually, so each and every star schema, it can be you have to calling that fact table. So fact table in the sense, can you knowledge that a fact table type of schemas, Danraju sir?
Factory will I don't know.
You don't know?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, right. So let us discuss about one moment. Yes. See here, and here you have that one table, for example. So table, just you have to design here. So this is the one type of table. So that table is the main table. How can you image that main table in the sense? Dhanraju sir,
Yes, sir.
when I'm saying that main table, how can you understand that main table? How can you understand that main table? So okay, you don't know actually that main table. How can you image that? See here, for example, here you have to using some table is there. That is the employee table, for example. Just to have to imagine that employee table. Employee table in the sense what type of fields is available from the employee table and commonly and generally.
Employee name, employee ID.
Yes, the first of all serial number.
Employee name, employee ID.
Yes, here you have to use that name, serial number. Here you have to use that name. You have to use that name and ID. Yes, and salary and PF and ESI facility. So here you have that one table actually. So from this table, you have to create it. Actually, when is the user require on the time the user requirement, you have to collecting from the or visualization from the only three columns. What type of columns you have to visualize? Only they want serial number, name, and employee ID only. So on the time, just you have to display some table, and that person and one more user, they want identified that employee ID and salary. So on the time you have to generate from this table, you have to generate and one more table, generate in one more table, and a PF that user or that client a requirement from the requirement, you have to generate and one more table also, that is the ID, serial number, salary, and PF also it can be required. So on the time you have to generate and one more table actually, and ESI facility is available or not. From the user requirement, you have to generate and one more table actually. So on the time, you don't want that salary. It can be generated employee ID, employee ID, employee ID, and ESI facility. From that employee ID, ESI facility or available or not. So on the time, just you have to generate it employee ID and ESI facility. So you have to create it different type of different type of tables. So each and every table, individual table or based on this main table, it can be generated. Tell me that, Dhanraju sir. Each
Yes,
and
sir.
every table. So here some of the tables you have to generate it from this table only. So this is the main table. This is the
Yes, sir.
main table. Clear? Why you are
Yes, sir.
calling this main table actually? So from this table you have to generate it and multiple tables. So in that's why this is the main table. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Uh, given that this name on it, this is the main table. This is the main table. Actually, some more of tables is there. So these are all the different type of tables actually. So this table, it can be related to which table? This table
Main table.
can be related to,
Main table.
yes, exactly, main table. Yes, main table. And this table, it cannot be created from this table. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. It can be relation, it can be there any relation it can be there from this table to and this table.
Yes, sir. Serial number.
Relation is there? No, it cannot be there in any relation from those tables. Why? Because this table it cannot be generated from this table. Yes, this table it can be relation from this main table only, and this table also it can be relation from this table only, and these are all tables also it can be relation from this table. But this table two and this table it cannot be there any relation. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. So relation, when I am saying that relation, you could not seeing on that field names. and here also ID is there, and here also ID is there, and here also ID is there, and here also ID is there. In that's way, and this table to and this table, it can be relation is there. Don't like that. So relation in the sense, from the base on this table only, you have to generate this other table. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So for is that those are all tables. It cannot be one table to another table. It cannot be maintained any relation. So in that's why this is the main table, and this is the for example, this is a table one. For example, you have to assign that table one. Table one, and this is the table two. And this is the table 3, and here it is the table 4. Table 4. So, and one main table, it can be related to and different type of tables. So from these tables, it can be generated from the main table. So this type of table relation, table relation is the fact table. Is the fact table. So this fact table, it can be contains a star schema. Star schema. So this is the star schema actually. So this type of fact table relation, it can be having star schema. Whenever you thinking about this star schema like this, so this type of relations should be there in star schema. So in your project, whenever you're selecting that project, from your project, so what type of schema you have to maintain, and from that interview, when they are asking that type of question, so you should be know that what type of schema you have to maintain from your project. That is the very most important. And one more schema also is there. And one more schema also is there. So that is the what type of schema? What type of schema you have to maintain? What are the Snowflake schema? Second one is the Snowflake schema. Hello, guys. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Second one is the Snowflake schema. So in this Snowflake schema, also like this. And Snowflake schema also. One moment. And Snowflake schema also is there. And here, one more table that user it can be required. What type of table actually? So Yes, Dhanraju sir, it is visible.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Yeah, it is visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. So here the one more tables you have to create it. So on the time that user it can be required from the one report you have to generate. So based on this, so on the time, so that user requirement they want serial number and a name also it can be required. So on the time just to have to generated the one more table actually the serial number and name also it can be required. So here id and esi facility it's available, and here they require the some name also it can be required. So on the time you have to generate it one more table actually. So and one more table you have to generate it from this table actually. On the time just you have to use an serial number and employee name, serial number and employee name and ESI facility. They don't want any ID, employee ID. So they want only serial number and name and ESI. Okay. It is clear, Dhanraju sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So here based on this table, you have to generate it from those tables. So those tables it can be related to this table, related to this table only.
Main table.
Yeah. So this table only it can be generated. So here on the time also you have to calling from this table, main table, and these are all the subtables. And this is also one more subtables, more than one tables you have to create it from this table. So on the time also just you have to name it table, table 5, table 5, and this is the table 6, and this is the table 6. So here, based on in this table, you have to generate it more than one tables you have to create it. So and here also, whenever it is required, and you have to generate it from based on from this table, and here also more than one table you have to generate it based on from this table, and here also, and here the sixth table based on the sixth table also, and one two more tables you have to create it from this table. So that type of visualization, that type of visualization like this, for example, we have to generate it that type of tables. One moment. Yes, we have to generate it that type of tables. See here, and here also you have to generate it two tables from this table. Based on this table, you have to generate it two more tables, and here also you have to generate and two more tables. See, from this based on this table only you have to generate it and two more one more tables, and here also it can be generated two more tables. So this type of structure is calling a snowflake schema. What is that? Snowflake Snowflake Schema. Snowflake Schema. So this is the very most important actually. Don't forget that. So star schema and snowflake schema is the very most important actually. So whenever you following from your table, from your project, so what type of schema you want to done from this work actually. So on the time, you should be know that what type of schema you want to follow from your project, snowflakes or star schema. So each and every project in nowadays and each and every projects it can be following that snowflake schema. So that's why uh, parent and child relation. So each and every time it can be following that a parent and child relation. Based on these parents, you have to generate these child tables, and this child, whenever it can be generated and one more tables, so on the time, the child it can be converted into parent. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? So whenever you generated in these two tables, so this child from this child table, it can be generated to parent table. It can be converted into parent table. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. So, and here this table, it can be generated into child table, but from this child table, it can be generated into one more tables. So on the time, this child table, it can be converted into parent table. So how, whenever you identifying that this child table or parent table, so which one is, which table it can be contains from the parent table. So those are all identification purpose. It should be maintain a relationship. Yes or no? Without the relationship, you cannot be identified anything.
Yes,
Yes
sir.
or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Ramya madam. Hello.
Yes, sir. Hello,
Ye-
sir.
yes. From this star schema, snowflake schema, any doubt?
What is the main difference between those two tables?
Yes. The star schema is maintain only main table, and in surrounding of that main table, it can be generated into only related tables only related tables. These are all the one table, main table, it can be generated to other table, and that's it. This table, it cannot be generated any other tables. So here only parent and child relation only it can be there. That is the star schema. Snowflake
Okay.
schema in the sense, one main table, it can be generated, and more than tables it can be generated, and the here only one parent is there, and more than one parents is available from the snowflake schema. Tell me that.
Yes, sir.
Only one parent is there, and more than one parents is available from this snowflake schema.
More than one, sir.
Yes, more than one parent tables, it's available from the snowflake schema. But star schema, it can be having only one parent table. That is the difference between star schema and snowflake schema. Clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So that is the main difference only. So here, actually, this snowflake schema. Here, just you have to write on that some more points actually. This star schema, this contains of fact table. Yes or no? This star schema,
Yes, sir.
consists of fact tables. Fact table in the middle and in the middle and the dimensional table. Dimensional table around it. So what's the meaning actually? So diamond around the dimension table. So for example, let us discuss about that. Here, this is the main table is the dimension table. So this is the fact table. This type of dimension table surrounding some of the tables it's available. So that's why the table is the fact table. Yes or no? So this is the fact table actually or main table. This fact table surrounding some more tables is available. That type of fact table is a star schema.
Yes, sir.
Yes, star schema. And second point is that in fact table, when I am saying that fact table, how can you imagine that fact table in the sense? Fact table in the sense main table.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Fact table in the sense main table. Just you have to imagine that main table. Main table in the sense center of the table. So what type of center of table in the sense? The fact table is the center of the table. And surrounding table it can be contains that the main table. So just you have to imagine in your mind that when you're saying that fact table, that is called a main table. Okay. So in that table, every column is primary key. In the fact table, in the sense main table, it can be it can be the every column is primary key and the corresponding column in the dimension. In the dimension table should be foreign key. Should be foreign key. So here, just you understand that. And third point, second point is that in the fact table, every column is primary key. So fact table, every column it can be having the primary key, and defaultly it can be having the primary key, and the corresponding column and any one of the corresponding column in the dimension table should be foreign key. So definitely you have to assign that. For example, here, so this is the fact table. Actually, this fact table, every column in the sense serial number, name, ID, salary, PF, and ESI, and every column is a primary key actually, and defaultly it can be assigning that primary key. Actually, any corresponding column in the sense, for example, ID or salary or any corresponding, whenever you choosing from that choosing of that column, actually you have to assign that foreign key. So foreign key is the whenever you're assigning that foreign key, it cannot be generate any duplicates. So that type of foreign key. So here you have to just you concentrate this table. So whenever you're assigning that foreign key, so which field you want to select? Serial number is you want to select that serial number or name or ID or salary. Which one you want to select it that assigning from the foreign key? Dhanraju sir.
ID, sir. ID.
Yeah, ID exactly. So that ID it cannot be generated and repeatedly. So in that's why that ID you have to maintain the foreign key from this table. So that is the second point actually. That is the second point. And third point, so third one is the Snowflake schema. In this Snowflake schema also, they have to be maintained. And one more points actually, extension of star schema. Yes or no? Extension of star schema.